My name is Claudia Lash, and I'm a quilt designer, and I like to write patterns on some of them and enjoy the whole quilt business. Many times I am asked when I'm at quilt shows or other events where I come up with the ideas for my quilts, and there are lots of different ways that I come up with ideas. But one of them is from the fabric. I will see a fabric that inspires me to do something with it. This is an older quilt. This is called Ribbon Trellis. I made the quilt I finished it in 2008. And the thing that started out the quilt was this fabric that's in the borders all the way around, and I guess this is where the main fabric is. I just thought it was so pretty, so colorful. I like the pinks. I just thought it looks very Japanese, very oriental, and it kind of set me thinking, what can I do with that? So I decided that I would make a 2-block type quilt, pieced blocks and applique. I like to do that because it means I don't have to spend the whole quilt making applique, and I sometimes like to use other fabrics that will coordinate with this fabric. So in the pieced blocks, I have all these fabrics that I think coordinated. Some may have been in the fabric line, and this square right here looks like it's definitely the same fabric. So I pieced these. These are simple to piece. They're just rectangles and strips. And then I wanted to put some applique in, so I was fairly new to doing applique, and I think I did surprisingly a decent job. These are, I used the blanket stitch, and it looks like at that time I was intent on using sort of a small, very close blanket stitch. It looks fine. And all of these vines, I evidently decided I could do all of those. It's good to have them, for me, to have them hide under a corner, because then you don't have to worry about finishing what those rough edges look like. When I looked at it not too many days ago, I thought, oh, I forgot that I had done this little curly twig vine thing on the blocks, and I was really pretty impressed with that. I think that what I did on my machine was just to do use a darker green thread and go around and around and around, and then go right back on itself, using your feed dogs down and just sort of like you're quilting, but you're just free motion making that little vine. I thought that looks pretty good. Some things I did in 2008 didn't work so successfully, but that one I think did. Anyway, I did write a pattern for this. It's called Ribbon Trellis, and it was a good pattern for a while, and then I no longer carry it or do anything with it. And part of the reason is because if you use a big, lovely fabric that you like to make a quilt, sometimes it doesn't sell as well at quilt shows because people want the exact same fabric, and it's hard for some people to use a different fabric and make it work. This idea could be used with lots of different fabrics. If you have a fabric that you love, use it for the border, use it somewhere in a pieced block inside, and either big hunks of the fabric in here or put a little applique in. So that's a hint if you want to design your own quilt. I also have another quilt that's kind of similar to this I'm going to show you next. Hello again. Do you notice the similarity between ribbon trellis and this quilt? This is a newer quilt. This one is called Garden Trellis. I think I might have had ribbon trellis in my head. By the way, ribbon trellis was quilted by Paul Wyckoff. This quilt was quilted by Cheryl Stewart. I know some very experienced and talented long arm quilters, and I love to give them my business because I don't like to do these big things. Anyway, this is Garden Trellis. Again, it was sort of patterned after this time wasn't one main fabric. It was a stack of fat quarters, I think. And they were all these pinks and, pinks, blues, greens, very spring-like. And I thought, oh, I think that would be fun to put together with, again, some pieced blocks. Notice how simple these pieced blocks are. There's a bigger fabric in the center, some strips, very quick and easy to put together. And then the flowers on this one, I think I decided they needed to be a little different. And so I went with whatever was in the main fabric. See how these flowers are kind of, these are different fabrics, but they're more rounder and anyway, so I made flowers that were similar to what was in the fabric. And the flowers, again, are appliqué, fusible appliqué using the blanket stitch. Again, I like to use lots of different greens sometimes. Don't want to use anything too much, the same colors. And I really was very happy with the way it turned out. I liked especially the border. This is these gray and dark fabrics were something that I thought looked nice with this white and these florals. So I liked this, and then on each on each corner, I put flowers with a few leaves, and I think it just kind of pulls it together and makes it look, just the way I wanted it to look. So another quilt based sort of on fabrics and fairly easy to make using two types of blocks, a pieced block, appliqué block. And you could make this quilt. Now this one I do have a pattern for. There's a pattern. You could make this quilt as big or as small as you like. It's not that difficult to make, and I think looks very girly. This is Garden Trellis, and I'm Claudia Lash, and I hope you get some inspiration from when you see certain fabrics. Go ahead and see what you can design to put with them, or find a pattern that you think will work well with these beautiful fabrics that we have available today. Thanks.